Do you have an archive of old podcast chat topics that you never got around to discussing? Well, if you do, then you're a good company. Today I'll be taking a closer look at the nuances of everyday interactions that make up the monotony of life. Let's pause our headphones but not take them off when the unpredictable person on the tram kicks into another gear. Grab your knitting needles and a blanket because it's time for two old friends to sit around and sew a new patch in their quilt of friendship. So join me, Josh, welcome to Patchwork, under the covers with Christian.
Welcome to Patchwork.
Yes, there we go. Welcome to Patchwork.
Welcome to Patchwork, Josh.
So today we're doing something a little bit different. You might have heard in the intro. What do we call it? Patch scraps?
It's a patch full o' scraps.
Patch full of scraps.
No, not of. Patch full o' scraps.
Okay. Sounds like a cat food or something, or a dog food.
Yeah. It's a cute name.
Yeah.
It's going to catch on because there's been so many times in our past where we're preparing for an episode, we pitch each other some talking points, and then we have so many talking points that we end up with a whole scrapbook of ideas that are quality but never got spoken about.
Yeah, because I think the biggest thing, there's an energy and excitement when you're coming every week with ideas. And then if something doesn't get onto the episode that week, you lose a bit of interest in it, and then something new happens and you kind of pick up that. So they're not bad ideas. They just sort of fell to the bottom of the list and we never sort of came back to them. Sometimes they're not juicy enough. There's no meat on that bone.
Yeah, it's a very quick it's a very quick observation.
Yeah.
And then we'll move on.
Yes.
But the reason I guess that that's the idea of the episode. We're just going to, we haven't really discussed it, but I've got a list of maybe 5 or 6, Josh. You've got an equivalent. And we're just going to have a quick little powwow.
Yes.
About our scraps.
Yes.
Give that dog a bone.
Yes.
And that's how this is going to happen today.
And potentially we're going to make a new patch out of all those scraps, aren't we?
Certainly are, Josh.
Yeah.
The reason, though, that we came up with this idea to go through our scraps is because, Josh, you and I, now this is before we get started, so this ain't no scrap.
Let's be clear on
this
that.
This is a fresh meal.
Yeah.
Last week, you and I went out for dinner.
Yes.
Just a couple of boys.
Just a couple of boys out for dinner.
Out for dinner.
Nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. The stares we got. So we went out for dinner and we sit down and you pull out a scrap bit of paper with an itemized list.
Yeah, it's great.
And I am confused. Josh, why do you have a list?
I thought it could be the move. There's this great Instagram account called Could Be The Move, and they just have these really fun, silly ideas. I encourage you to look it up. One of the ones he was talking about is just bring in a list of topics. Because apparently this old guy did it once with his friends and things to talk about. And so I was like, I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to bring a little list of topics to get through. And it wasn't like prescriptive if we had to talk about these things. It was like, you know how sometimes when you catch up with him, I want to talk about, there's so much stuff we haven't caught up for ages. I want to talk about this. I just want to have a few things on there to be like, these are things I actually want to talk with Christian about.
You had conversation starters.
Yeah. And so I was worried that by the end of the night, I might be like, I forgot to ask him about this or I forgot to talk about that.
You and I are never bereft for ideas when we catch up, right? It's a fluid conversation.
Yeah.
But this was something else, right? So, Josh, if you want to introduce us to a few of the ideas on your list.
I'll go through. You know what's funny? Without following the list, we actually got quite a few of them, which I was very pleased with.
Because they're high priority items.
They are high priority items. So the top one was about the print workshop.
That was a workshop that you went to at work about printing.
Yeah, so because I was like, we like tech stuff. It's weird. It's interesting. There was some interesting stuff about printers.
Sure.
A colleague. I'll just rattle these off. A colleague's racist remark. The new OBS setup. The new office fit out. So doing some welcome to Patchwork polls. Hey Christian, how's your house with the cold? How are the cats? Are there any hidden expenses with owning a home? What are council rates? And also, are Hollywood budgets too big? I just thought I'd round it out with just like a nice closer there with the Hollywood budgets.
It was, look, I love that you planned for the evening and you had to think what would be something that we will get some juice out of.
Yeah.
It caused me to have a bit of an existential crisis.
You hated it in the moment.
In the moment, I hated it because it made me reflect too much on what conversation is.
Great.
So it made me think about one person. Why do we even sit opposite one another and talk to each other?
And this isn't even a conversation we're having at mid-afternoon at Meredith.
No. But it freaked me out because then I was like, why do people even get dinner together? Is it just to say, I need you to be as updated as I am on these things?
Is there something wrong with a couple of boys going out for dinner?
Maybe the stairs were justified.
I think you had such a strange point. You were saying that what is a conversation in terms of it moving from one block of topic to another block of topic.
Yeah.
And then I use the example of maybe you talk about a meal you had and I go, oh, I had a meal in Thailand. And then you talk about that. And then you're like, no, it's Taiwan. And I was like, oh, no. And then you start talking about Taiwan. And like, there's a bridge there where at some level you're talking about food, but at some level you're talking about Taiwan.
Yes, ultimately conversations are just blocks of one person says, look, it's too nuanced to get into.
Yep.
But I don't understand what a conversation is now.
That's on the list for next time.
Is a conversation necessary? Is it ever necessary?
You should. I'm surprised that list did this to you. It broke your brain a little bit. That's not what I expected to happen.
Anyway, we had a good time. We ended up knocking off a few of those things.
We did.
But look, I feel as though I would like the scrap bit of paper with the ideas to be something that I could introduce more into my friendships.
Yeah, sure.
But I feel as though the first thing we can do is dig into our scrapbook of ideas.
Absolutely.
Josh, did you have one ready to go?
I do have one ready to go. This is something my housemate said to me. She pointed it out to me. She said, in text messages, I always use ha ha ha. And I never use crying face emojis or lol. And she thought that was weird. Do you think that's weird that I always go for a ha ha ha? I really don't engage with other forms of laughter communication.
Well, I mean, I need a distinction here. You'll never react with a smiley face.
I do. I would react with an emoji, but in terms of like generally, it'll just be a ha ha. That's my rock solid go to.
Because you feel that. So I'm thinking in your mind the ha 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 carries.
Just ha ha ha, please.
Sorry, it wasn't that funny. But that carries more weight.
No, I don't think it's that weight. It's literally speed. It's speed and efficiency. It's that bang, 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 gunk. It's gone.
Oh,
because it means the same thing. It means the same thing to me.
No. Wait a second. Okay, to the individual though, which do you think, ha 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 or laughing face emoji, carries more weight in terms of what you said made me pretend that I was laughing?
I think I preferred the written word.
Ha ha ha.
I think the emoji.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I think the emoji feels like a shortcut. Even if you stack them. Even if you're stacking them 3, 4, 5 high.
Don't stack emojis.
You don't stack more than 3.
I don't think you should ever stack emojis.
Sorry. Do you line? You mean vertical or
I mean,
horizontal?
You send one, then you send another one.
I meant 3 in a row.
If anyone's doing that, stop. It's a single emoji, that's it. Even double emojis in the same message, nah.
Triples your classic for a laughing, crying emoji.
Triples is best?
Yeah, triples is it. Triples is a full house.
You're right. But I don't think there's any other emoji you can send unless you're doing the
love hearts?
So hang on. The slightly twisted laughing face, the normal rotational laughing face, and then the slightly rotated one. So it's like
it's a
45 degree angle, 0 degree angle, 45 degree angle.
It tells the story.
It does. It's like I'm doing this with my head while I'm laughing.
If you could see me right now,
oh my God,
this is exactly what
my
you'd be
head.
seeing. Yeah. Anyway, I didn't think it was that weird, but then I was like, I don't know. To me, it's a speed thing. I just bang out a ha 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 and move on with my life.
Feels old school. I kind of like it.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
Could be the move.
It reminds me of old school texting. LOL.
Yeah, well, I guess that's what it comes from.
Because LOL was there,
and
then LOL was like, ugh, don't use LOL. And now no one's using LOL.
Nah, LOL
and so
is
I kind of
really
feel
out.
like, no, but LOL, I reckon sprinkle a bit of LOL back in there.
Keep them on their toes.
Or, do you know what I love? Lel. L-E-L.
That is good.
I've not said it. I've not used it.
You know, lel is the equivalent of sometimes when...
It's like a cheeky little...
Yeah. When I'll use it, is like a sort of bad joke that I know is a bit silly. Like,
yeah.
lel.
Yeah, so it's a H-E-H-E.
Yeah.
Instead of a H-A.
Yeah, it is. That's the lel. He to lel is ha 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 to lol.
And are
Play
you ever...
Play the rule sound effect. don't have it. Yeah, we still have it.
Is it ever a HIHI?
Never that.
Never.
You will get looks at the pub.
Yeah. HI. Good.
Have you got one, Christian?
Yeah, I do. So we're closing that chapter.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot there, was it?
No, I
It's just
liked
a bit
it.
of emoji chat.
I liked it.
But am I a freak for using ha ha ha? No.
No, I actually like if I talk about our messages back and forth, if I send something and get a ha 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 ha, sorry, ha ha ha, that makes me feel great.
Great. Good to know.
Because in my head, I'm like, got him.
Yeah.
I bloody got him. Okay. My first one, Josh. Fridges are too cold. We can keep things for far too long. A mushroom shouldn't be able to sit in the same spot for a week and then be eaten. How often do we eat something cold and praise it for being cold? Aside from beer.
That's great. There's a lot to unpack here.
So just this idea that you close a fridge door.
Yeah.
Then the things that you bought a few days ago, they're still in the exact same spot, and you might not use them for another few days.
Your issue is the static. If they change shelves, you'd be a bit more happy. Is that right?
The idea of rotating them across.
Yeah,
the fridge.
does that make it better?
It's the idea that this idea that you're cooking fresh food.
Yeah.
You pick it up from the market, whatever, right? At that point, is it even fresh? And then you take it home, it's still got life in it.
Yep.
You jam it in a cold room.
Yeah.
Small cold room.
Yep.
And then
Cupboard
leave it.
is probably a better analogy, but yeah.
Fridge. That's the small cold room.
You never climb in yours?
And then after X amount of time, you consume it. And it's still considered fresh in your mind.
Yeah, it's a good point because when you don't put something in the fridge and it's not cold, you're like, this is too much. This can't be eaten again. Even bread or something when it's been out, because I like go from freezer to toaster now.
Yeah.
That feels a little bit weird, leaving a loaf of bread out for a few days.
Yeah. And then sometimes if you've put it in the freezer for a while, it gets that like white burn.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. How does that get inside the bag?
What?
It gets inside the bag, the icicles. Is that normal? What's the bag there for?
Hang on. Start again.
You've got a
loaf of bread in a bag. In a what type of bag?
Just the bread bag that it came in.
Oh, the plastic bread bag. That's gone in the freezer too.
Yeah. It's all gone in. And there's icicles forming inside the bag. Should the bag not stop icicles from forming inside?
So presumably when you bought the bread, it was at a particular temperature and you just jammed it into the freezer.
Yes.
It could be something about the heat adjustment.
Yeah, let's move off science for a minute. I'm sorry to take us there. So I understand what you're saying about it should be more difficult. That we've lost the appreciation for freshness.
I think that's what it is. It's again, in my
We've
mind,
lost
very
our way.
clearly is a shriveled mushroom. And then me happening upon the shriveled bag of mushrooms and going, they're still all right. Like, I reckon you give them a sniff. It's like you're battling against time instead of...
you are battling against time at that point. They should... I think you're getting at is...
You tell me.
I think it's like we've talked about the idea of being able to get anything at a supermarket is kind of crazy.
Yes.
That in Australia, you can just, like, everything is available all the time. Like, we really don't want for anything. Like, nothing really goes out of stock.
And that's like, so I was sitting with my uncle the other week and he, along with this is my dad's side of the family, they all came from a farm, came from a town called Robinvale, which is close to Mildura in Victoria's north. They used to grow lots of different fruits. They in particularly grew grapes. And he was eating some grapes and he looked at the bag and he was like, oh, these probably were frozen sometime last year because we were complimenting the grapes themselves. We're like,
oh my
these
God.
are incredibly crisp and juicy. And he's like, yeah, most likely frozen at some point.
A year ago.
But in my mind, these things are fresh. They've come right off the vine.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on? Why? How much of what we eat is frozen and then thawed? And are we how disconnected are we from the fresh item?
Well, how much do you get around that with the farmer's market? How much?
Well, I can't even trust the farmer's market.
That's what I mean. Is that real or not? The farmer's market. Is it like, yeah, I made these?
Well, look, there are people at the farmer's market, at the stalls that I see there. You know, you could go in any day of the week and they're there. their farms must look atrocious.
Just criticizing the farmers.
No, but I think the idea of farmers market is a marketing ploy.
Yes.
And you've got permanent vendors there selling fruit and veg from the same place they're getting it for collies and wool.
Collies and wool.
Collies
and wool. If you work at a farmer's market or know anyone who does, please message us and let us know. Are farmers markets to be trusted, or are there farms in shambles?
Oh, great. End of a news story. And are there farms in shambles? Moving on, our headlines for this week are...
All right, so, Christian, what is the universal action if you find something on the ground in the street?
The universal action.
Maybe it's a child's shoe, a glove, an
Gotcha.
earbud.
Okay,
You find it on the street. What is the universal action, do you think, that occurs?
So I'm going to just put myself in the position here. I'm walking. I see a child's shoe.
Yep.
First thing I do is I look around.
Look down at my feet. 1, 2. I'm okay.
I look around and I look for a child. I guess whatever the item is, I look for a possible owner. Right?
I can say look for a child. Whatever the item is, could be anything. Probably belongs to a child.
I look for an owner.
Yes.
So first thing I do, I scour the street, any owner, and then if it's something of value, like a phone, let's say, I'm going to interact with it. So I'll pick it up, and as I'm picking it up, I'm still really looking around so people don't go,
they know.
This guy's stealing my phone. I'm like, what's going on here? There's a phone.
Yep.
And then I will deduce.
Yeah.
I'll get clues.
Say it's a less valuable item. Say it's a scarf, glove, something like that. What are you doing with that?
I'm leaving it.
Yeah, but where?
Exactly where it was dropped.
Come on, you're ruining this for me.
Am I?
All it needs to be is you put it up on a high surface nearby. Everyone
is
always does that. Everyone
Josh,
always does that.
Look, you've made something that probably didn't have
wish
legs
we
as a
had
talking
D on
point.
here. I wish we had D on here.
I trust me, nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody. If this was Family Feud, you took a sample size and they said put it on a higher place, it would be a
This is good stuff. What they do, it'll be like a fence paling or something, the edge of a fence. Bang, put it up there. I'm not saying high. I mean higher than on the ground.
Josh.
Some sort of fence around, put it up there. I was in Adelaide. Some earbuds, some AirPods were on the ground. They'd been put up on like, there was like a step thing and someone put them on that.
You think someone put them on the steps?
Absolutely they did.
Did you see where they
maybe
were?
Maybe I did it.
Oh, God. But you didn't even see where they were originally. So how can you know they weren't dropped on the steps?
Someone's put a glove over one of our fence palings. Like, it's all happening all the day, every day, Christian.
It's absolutely
at the farmer's market. It's happening. It's happening everywhere.
So all the apples are up high. The ones that are rolling.
Open your eyes.
It's not happening. And I could say maybe, given your examples, your anecdotal evidence, I'll give you 5% of people doing it. But what's going through my mind is scarf on floor. Someone may have at some point, bent down at this location, dropped their scarf and kept walking, not realizing it, or they were walking past. When they retrace their steps, they're going to be looking at the fucking floor, aren't they?
No, they'll
not up on a paling.
Oh my God.
Not up on a Sarah.
If you, seriously, I can't imagine you'd go, I'm just going to leave it on the ground. Even if there was like a raised shelf, even if it was a shelf there. Oh, it's such a good point. I can't wait to get messages about this.
Hang on. No, not moving on. I just want to understand. You think that by having it higher up...
Yes, it's more visible. When you're going back to look for your stuff,
so
when
you
you're
don't
retracing
think
your steps.
when retracing your steps that where you stepped would be more visible than somewhere that you wouldn't expect to look?
Retrace, Christian.
Look at me.
Christian. Retracing your steps is not literal.
What? Yes, it absolutely is.
It's going the path you took. It's not literally where your feet were planted.
But you think at every single step on your retracing of your steps, you should be looking around that area?
Like I said, it's not literal. Retracing your steps, I said 1, 2,
Wait a second.
3.
Wait a second.
I could have sworn I dropped that 17 steps ago.
I've dropped my wallet.
Good.
And I go... dropped my wallet and I'm like, all right, I'm going to retrace my steps, try to find my wallet.
Okay.
Happy Joe passerby, Josh Porter, has found a wallet and goes, I better put this somewhere visible.
Yep.
Puts it on top of a letterbox.
Yep.
Right?
Sure.
Why would I, thinking I've dropped my wallet, look on top of a letterbox?
Because it's in the area you were lost and it's
I am
higher
frantic.
and higher up.
I'm frantic. I'm scared. In my wallet, I've got my grandfather's war medals. I've got the last words ever spoken by my
Well,
uncle.
good thing they're not on the ground to be stepped on, right?
Josh,
Got you there.
you
Got you so good there.
I thought you got to say for weather protection.
Yeah, that too.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. All right, moving on. Next. All right. So, let's see. Where am I?
Bit of dead air for you there, folks. Well, Christian checks
I
his notes.
accidentally deleted everything in the note, and then I had to get it back.
Oh, God.
I know. Thank
Thank
God.
God.
Okay. I want to tell you a story, and it's a tale from Nonno's Veggie Patch.
Huge.
But it's only a micro tale.
Okay.
Okay?
Does he sell this veggie at the
At the farmer's market.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, with forks in it. They're frozen. Now, every time I used to go over to Nonno's house, he would be in a constant fight with Telstra. Every single time, because he could never get his mobile to work. Even though it was just a regular mobile phone, for some reason, he always had an issue. Mm-hmm. So, I went out, and after always coming back and trying to fix this fucking phone, I go out and I bought him a $200 mobile phone that was designed for the elderly.
Yep.
Right?
Big buttons.
Everything's really clear on the screen. Very easy to operate. I return back the next week to check in on how he's going with that phone. I go, Nonno, where's the phone that I bought you? Oh, I threw it out. I'm like, why? He goes, I couldn't get it to work. And I was like, no, I told you that's a $200 phone. Why did you throw it out? Like, why couldn't you at least
throw it out?
Yeah, I was going, why
in the bin?
Why couldn't you at least keep it in a drawer for me? Because 5 minutes beforehand, I had found a quinoto in his fridge that had been there since 1997.
Keep that. Keeps that, doesn't he?
Threw the phone out.
You would have wanted to put the phone in the fridge. That's what, that would have made more sense.
At least put the phone in a
completely
drawer.
binned it.
It was completely binned
So
it. In his mind, anything that has no more value to
God.
him is straight in the bin.
And his old one was also not working, but
Old
he
one-
chose to keep that.
Old one gone too. They're just
Great.
straight in the bin.
So weird.
But I guess in his mind, he's like, there's no part of him that says, there might be repeat value in this. It's, I didn't get the value out of it that I needed.
Well, I think
It's
that's
done.
also a weird thing of like, someone gave you a thing, and instead of being like, something's wrong with this, I'm going to call the person who gave it to me.
Yeah.
I don't know how you call them, but but you get in contact with them. That's where I would start.
I know. And I'm like, send me a letter.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, where has that gone? Is anyone still sending letters?
Yeah, they're going to raise the price, I think, Ozpost on
For sending
snail.
on
just
stamps?
just because it's like more, it's less and less common, so it's more and more expensive to do.
Why would you? Can you see any value in still sending someone a letter?
Oh, it's just handwritten, right? That's
Yeah.
all it is. There's something about a handwritten note.
Is that what we're trying to do at dinner?
What is
Is essentially exchange letters?
a little bit? Yeah.
Yeah. But
Unless it's because what is everyone says it's an impersonal thing to type or write an email or something. There's something impersonal about it. Is it just a time? You know that if they put pen to paper, it's
You've
taken
given it
time.
some thought.
There's investment there that doesn't exist when you bang it out on the keyboard.
Well, I never was alive during a generation of writing a letter. Like I wrote a letter to Steve Monaghetti, and I think it was for the the 96 Olympics.
That was Atlanta, wasn't it?
Yep, I would have written to Steve Monaghetti.
What? Just say, go get him.
Yeah, basically. And what really disappointed me about Steve was that most of the other kids in the class got a response, even if it was fake.
From Steve or from other?
No, from other athletes. And Steve never responded to me.
I love that Steve singled you out.
Who the fuck is this? What a pathetic letter. Yeah, so Steve never wrote back to me. But yeah, I didn't grow up in a time of sending letters, so I don't really know what the substance was, but maybe it required some real thought.
The only one I can think of is, and I think people still do it, they'll do like the family update and they'll go, this is what mum and dad are up to. This is what the kids are up to. So-and-so just graduated, and then they'll send like a family picture, and that comes at Christmas time. I think people still do that, but that to me is the extent of the written letter, I think.
Are we catching up too often? Have we moved on from sending letters where, we're keeping each other updated from afar, even maybe we live close, but now there's this thing where it's like, hey, Josh, let's get dinner next week and talk about the things that we...
Well, does anyone send an email update? I remember that used to be big when I was traveling in my early 20s. Like, you'd do the email update to everyone to say what's going on.
Yeah, that was great.
Do people do like an email just to catch up with a friend? Probably, right?
I used to love reading those emails from people who were traveling.
Yeah.
And now I can't stand when I get a text.
You've changed, man. You've changed.
Yeah. All right.
Move on to another one.
Josh, you're up.
All right. So there was a time out with some colleagues, and I was telling a story. I have kind of bad, it's not hay fever, but it's like the plane trees get to me. They really, the particulates.
Cat allergies,
get
plane
in there.
trees. Get a grip, mate.
Anyway, I just had a coughing fit where I could not stop coughing. And I was in the middle of trying to tell a story, but it wasn't to the point of like, I'm in pain here. It's like physically, I'm just going to keep coughing. So it would be like, wait, to the farmer's market and I'm sorry.
Oh man.
And I was like, and I wanted to get your opinion. Do I pass the story off? And they're looking at me like something great. I'm like having sips of water. I'm like, this isn't doing nothing.
Yeah.
Do I just go, you guys got to take this. I'm out for the next 30 seconds.
Yes.
But it was weird. I, for some reason, persisted because I was like, no, that was the last cough. No, you got it out. That was that last bit.
You never know when it's the last cough.
It was so intense.
I think the key in that situation is to remove yourself entirely. Because anytime I get into a coughing fit, everyone looks and they don't know what to do because they're like, something's happened.
Well, that was the weird thing. There's this feeling of like unease at the table because like, oh my God, Josh is really in a bad way. I'm like, no, I just can't control this thing. It's really got me good.
Yeah.
I should have excused myself.
I guess
and I should have said that. Excuse me.
Yeah. Excuse Yeah, well, I think people really get scared by the prospect of choking. Sorry.
What do you mean?
The idea that you would be at a table.
I don't think that's on anyone's minds.
Really? So I'm sitting here choking and you're not that concerned.
I'm not like, oh my God, it's finally happening. This thing I've been stressing about and worried about, it's finally happening.
I'd say that at any given dinner party, I have a small allocation in my mind to someone may end up choking.
You've got, that's the safety exit there. If choking, this is what I'll do.
Well, you have to
If so-and-so turns up, this is what I'm going to talk about.
When someone starts coughing that dramatically, it's that feeling of, none of us really know.
I think
that it's the fragility of mankind.
Yeah.
In that moment, we go, none of us can help this person.
Well, I think what it was for me, it was like, it wasn't this uncontrollable, painful thing. It was just like, this coughing is stopping me from talking. So it was like a really weird thing of not being like too distressed about it. I was like, this is just an annoying cough. This isn't like, oh my God. Like it's kind of, I agree. It is scary when someone really goes for it. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to slap their back. I'm going to really help them now.
It was just an annoying one. You kept coughing.
And I should have just excused myself.
Yes. Well, at least because there's always that feeling where you don't want to be a bother by continuing to cough. But sometimes you really need to just give it a few big whacks. Yeah. Big coughs. And you don't want to do that around people because maybe you need a few more than you anticipated.
Yeah, I should have gone to the bathroom. You're right.
Yeah.
Right.
See, I had something in my throat then, and I could have continued to talk with it bubbling away at the back. Yeah. But I gave it a big, strong.
Yeah, this is why I come to this podcast with great ideas like that and great role plays to get me through. So cheers, mate. Thanks, Christian.
All right. Josh, what do you do when you walk past a housemate? So this could be a partner, a housemate. If you don't live with someone, maybe someone that you see at the office pretty often. Again, this is probably something where it's like, hey, don't think too much about it. But that's not what this podcast is. When I'm walking past my partner at home, I don't know. Do you have like a set thing that you do when you're walking past people? Do you interact? Because for me, it feels a bit intense to ignore someone when you walk past them.
Yeah. Often there's like, our house is kind of a bit ships in the 90. Like,
Yep.
very good 90.
Ships in a 90. Sexy ships.
We see each other, but like there might be a bit of gap. So quite often it'll be like, oh, and I'll have something to say. Oh, I wanted to check up with you about that letter that came or something. So that's always really good if you've got something that is like business you need to attend to or something. Otherwise, like, it'll just be like, hey. Like, just give a little hey, a little vocal hey.
Okay. That feels that's probably a bit different than a partner, right?
Yeah, you know what's really weird is I'm thinking about this and I'm like, it is so dependent on where in the house this is occurring.
Interesting.
Because in the configuration for our house, it's like, is someone going to their room? Are they going to the bathroom? Are they going out the back to do some washing? Like, there's all these considerations that fit into that. And often if it's in the hallways, which is like the moving parts of the house, it'll be very brief. Like, hey, mate, like that kind of thing. But if it's like in the kitchen and someone's moving through, you might have a bit more dialogue in that moment.
Yes. Okay. So do you ever feel, instead of the, hey, mate, do you ever feel as though you need to do something a little cute or give them a little...
It's been a while since I lived with a partner. So, yeah, you'd probably... Yeah, if it was a partner, you'd do something silly.
But every time?
Yeah, I probably would actually.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a bit of pressure there. I think that's... In my head,
you got to like ratchet it up every time. In a given day, you got to escalate. You go, I can't do it.
Ish, you're like, okay, well, I guess physical interaction's always a good one.
Yep.
I found, maybe a little, that stops the, I guess it's maybe on me to think a bit less about this.
Yeah, I think so. I think, normally it's just a hey, mate. I think that's a classic. And often it'll be taking care of some sort of business or there's a reason to talk about. Or you're feeling really depressed and you don't want to talk to anyone. And it's like, hey. And it's that. It goes down. It's like, hey.
Okay. Do you think people have a good pulse check?
Yeah. Particularly Georgia and I, like we've been living together a long time. We zero in it very quickly.
Anytime you walk through the doors at my mum's place and you're like, hey. I'm like, okay, let's delay recording by about an hour.
Strap in.
But I think we're probably all at that point now where we can sense those like intimate nuances in each other's voice and face.
Yeah, and you get it. And how they clear their throat.
Yeah, but isn't that a crazy thing to know someone's face so well that any know someone's face so well that any kind of micro change, you can be like, they're feeling a little.
It's for me, it's often like sometimes it'll just be like you don't know what it is, but you're like, something's a little off. Something's off.
Yeah.
What's up? What's going on? You feeling okay? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know? And it's interesting of like, what is it? What is our status quo that makes people identify as like they're feeling quote unquote normal? And that's their everyday. It's probably in a happy state, right?
And sometimes as well, yes, it is a happy state, but I think also, is it sometimes that you have worn a mask of a happy person for so long that you pull the mask down and people are like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. I think that happens with the closest people in our lives where you don't feel you have to keep that up.
Yes.
And so they get to see all sides of you and it's probably less concerning in those moments for those people.
Yeah.
They identify it, but it's probably less concerning.
Yes.
They're like, I see this. I see this all the time. They hate me. I see this all the time.
Oh, that's the real Josh. He's so sad.
Should we rapid fire at the last couple? Because I think we're carrying on a bit.
Yeah, let's go. One more or two more? Give me some small ones.
What's your crusty sourdough eating strategy?
Whoa! What is my crusty sourdough eating strategy?
Speed round.
Okay, hang on a second. I'm putting it in the toaster.
No, it's been served to you at a cafe. Get with the program.
You give me better context.
That's the note. Hurry up.
What do you mean? What's my
Crusty
eating strategy?
bit of
I'm putting it in
sourdough
my
on your
mouth and
plate.
chewing.
Okay, great.
Okay, small chunks. Knife
Okay,
and fork, small chunks.
How are you getting through
Don't
that
want to
crust?
rip up the top
How
of
are
my
you getting
mouth.
through that crust?
Knife.
Knife?
Knife.
Do you request a steak knife?
Absolutely.
You do?
You better not give me a blunt knife.
Yeah,
Or
how hell's
I'm picking it up and putting it into my mouth with
Teeth.
my
Full teeth.
full teeth.
If you have a blunt knife, are you persisting with a blunt knife or going the teeth?
I'll persist with blunt knife. I'll always give it a go with
Yeah,
the knife.
right, yeah.
Way more preferable.
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
absolutely hate a thick sourdough at a restaurant that is over toasted because it rips the absolute shit out of your mouth.
Yes. I scraped. What did I had something recently? Scraped all the top of my mouth. I was like, great.
I'm all about a pane di casa these days
Okay,
at
no,
home.
no, it doesn't.
Wait a second. It's just a house bread.
Pane di casa at home?
It's the house.
I was like, well, of course.
It's just pane. I'm all about bread at home now. All right, let's move on. Josh,
Yes.
quickly, your strategy?
Yeah, sometimes I will just do a forceful push down, but I try to stabilize the bread as much as I can, knowing it could go in any direction.
Yeah. I hate the crummage.
Yeah.
When you're trying to cut through a crusty sourdough. Okay, this one's going to be a bit complicated and probably not the best one to say for last, but the framework is it's a particular subset of people that annoy me. It's people that know.
Speed round, here we go.
It's people that know that when they're saying the word Myriad, that it doesn't have of afterwards. So, example, the person goes, oh, there are myriad reasons. And you know when you see them say it that they're looking around to be like, that's right, I didn't say of.
Yeah.
People
Who use grammar correctly.
that use grammar correctly but absolutely know it and lean into it.
And the weird exceptional ones that not everyone's up to speed with.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
There's a different type. Like if you just go, oh, there's, well, actually, there's no real reason to ever say myriad unless you're writing it.
It always feels wrong when it's like, there's myriad reasons. I was like,
Just write it out in an essay at university. No
yes,
problem.
Yes.
No
agreed.
problem.
Agreed.
But hey, there are lots of options. That's what you say in
Yes.
conversation.
Yes,
You say
exactly.
myriad, get out of here.
Again, get rid of cob, get rid of myriad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
I just want to do one last quick one.
Piss
Fine,
off,
no,
Josh.
please. This is a segment idea, and it's called Bloat Goat, and it's what gets you the most bloated. What is your bloat goat, Christian?
This one, I would be surprised if it was anything else for anyone. It's beer.
Beer,
My
yeah.
God,
Beer
that's a
is the
bloat
bloat
goat.
goat.
It absolutely. One beer and I am. Do you know what I need? You know how, I don't know if anyone watches these videos on YouTube.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
It's when they puncture the cows.
And then I light it on fire.
That is, I would love it for someone at a bar employed specifically, and you're like, excuse me, I'll just take one.
It's going to burn that off.
Great for outdoor seating.
Welcome to Scrap Work. We finished with the scraps. Love doing the scraps, Christian. Did you enjoy the scraps?
It
the
was
scrappy
the patch full o scraps.
Okay, thank you. I didn't get it right, but we'll get it right next time.
Yeah, it was good. It's fun. This is a really enjoyable way to record with you.
Yeah.
Because it's just high
It's hype. We're like hype men, hyping each other out the whole time.
high energy. I'm
Yep.
not sure what it's like to listen to.
Yeah, give us some feedback on this style thing. Like, we obviously won't do them all the time, but
No.
it's always interesting to know the little experiments like this, how the people receive them.
Yeah, just cleaning out the trash.
As a reminder, we are Welcome to Patchwork across the socials. You can also support the show for $1 a show at patreon.com/welcome to patchwork. We thank our patrons who get their bonus patch in the off week.
Oh, we've had some crackers
Some real crackers.
over the last few weeks. Absolutely. The Josh and I specials, we get dark and we do it for a while. We really sink in. But also, this show is on YouTube.
Yeah.
You can watch this, and we've also introduced a bonus, which I'll do right now. Little double shot,
Yes,
which
built
is
that.
pretty cool.
We built
Both
that.
of us on screen.
Yep.
No worries.
So that's what you're missing out on the audio-only version. All you hear is us talking at the same time. You don't see us both at the same time.
right,
That's
right.
where modern medicine's going. As we do every week, we sew a new patch into our quilt of friendship. Christian, What did you sew into your patch this week?
Thank you, Josh. This week I sewed into my patch my petition to change this episode title from Patch Full of Scraps to Patch Myriad Scraps. And Josh, what did you sew into your patch this week?
Thank you, Christian. My patch this week is you sending me a photo of your belly being degassed at the bar and me replying, moo moo moo. Thank you very much for listening to Pat's Welcome to Patchwork for another week. I've been Josh.
I've been Christian.
Goodbye. Goodbye.